more importantly, handle our consciousness. And so sometimes we attempt to take on more than we can handle, right? We take on more than we can handle, and we get so overwhelmed that it takes us out for a while, and then we kind of lose progress. In other words, we're stepping forward 10 feet forward, marching along, minding our business, but grinding too much, just a constant, unnatural grinding of working. And then it takes you out for about a week or two. For some people, maybe longer than that.
Welcome to the Evolution of the Consciousness podcast. Love is spoken here. With your host and guide, Michelle Carruthers.
Morning, everybody. Michelle is here. Evolution of the Consciousness, Love is spoken here on this Saturday, February 24th, 2024. I just want to let you know I had a rough start this morning. And what does that mean? I did not want to get out of bed. That's what that was. Oh, man. I think the temperature has dropped from what it has been a couple of days. So it looks a bit overcast and blah, blah, blah. But, man, I did not want to leave that bed. Just put it that way. I hope everybody's doing fantastic, magnificently, and marvelous, because I am. This is, like I said, Evolution of the Consciousness. Love is spoken here. Your host and guide, Michelle Carruthers. All right. So I wanted to come on through this morning, on this Saturday morning, and, put a few things in your ear, give you something to cultivate, contemplate, properly meditate, and properly ruminate. I know a lot of things are going in the world, whether it's in our lives individually or in our lives collectively. There are a lot of moving parts. And the majority of it is hidden from our view, okay? And when I say that, I mean that literally, figuratively, and metaphorically. There's just only so much that we can handle individually. And a lot of people are figuring that out. And so, because, we're so extreme about everything, we're so fanatical and radical, and I have a lot of imbalance in how we handle things and how we, more importantly, handle our consciousness. And so sometimes we attempt to take on more than we can handle, right? We take on more than we can handle, and we get so overwhelmed that it takes us out for a while, and then we kind of lose progress. In other words, we're stepping forward 10 feet forward, marching along, minding our business, but grinding too much, just a constant, unnatural grinding of working. And then it takes you out for about a week or two. And for some people, maybe longer than that. I told you during COVID, that was a missed opportunity for a lot of us, because we had an opportunity to kind of slow it down a little bit and kind of look reflectively at our situations. Well, that's what it should have been. For a lot of people, I'm not really sure what everyone thought this was, to be honest. Because I was paying attention, and I'm sure others were, if something's happening in another country that's deadly by just breathing, what do you think is going to happen eventually to everybody else in the world? So I was just really shocked by how some, and mostly in management, and most in leadership, how they were acting and behaving. And that's where I come to the situation now. We just had this so-called outage of our cell phones. And, was anybody prepared for that? When I got up that morning, when the cell phones or all of that was out, I didn't really pay attention to it, to be honest with you. I just got up and did my own thing. And because if there's something that's important for me to know, I get it in other ways. I mean, yes, the cell phone is extremely important for a lot of people, for their jobs, for their situations, but I can pretty much do okay without it, per se. And what I mean by do without it, I'm sure there's other ways that I can figure out how to communicate with someone or get a hold of someone, Can you remember? I don't know about our young people, though, how we used to write letters back in the day. sending love letters across the country, love letters here, love letters there. I did that to a few people. And I remember, you know, I mean, what did we do? What did we do before cell phones became affixed to us? And that's literally, figuratively, and metaphorically. You'll find everybody, a majority of the people walking around with their cell phones in their hand. What I do with the cell phone, I just put it in my pocket, and just, because I know, when I go walking or when I do anything, I know I just want to be prepared, right? But for a lot of people, like I said, it's affixed to them. It's in their hand constantly, and they're walking with it, is my point. It's in sight, da da da. So, and I see women walking around, some do have, some women have their purses or bags or whatever they're calling it now. But then I'll see some, they got their cell phone in their hand, they got that bag in their hand. So we just need to be prepared and be safe about how we are conducting ourselves. I mean, a lot of people just do not want to put the cell phone away because we always have people say, well, it's just in case. Okay. But consider that, really, honestly. Just in case what? You know what I mean? You want to capture something that's really rare that anyone actually captures anything that's major. Is usually after the fact. When crimes are being committed, well, who captures that? Not usually on your cell phones. Mostly surveillance does that. And that brings me back to surveillance. Let me talk a little bit about that. With the cell phone situation, that was a wake-up call, I think, for people to reevaluate, what would you do if the cell phone service does go out again? Because it will. And then there's surveillance everywhere, surveillance on poles, in trees, everything's being watched artificially as well as organically. And when I say organically, that I mean, via your storage banks, we individual are paying attention to everything, even though we may not be able to register it. It's documented, just like everything else, and stored, okay? Unreachable. But the artificial intelligence of surveillance ought to disturb you more because, you're not given permission. No one's asking for our permission to be watching us on our, like now, I could be watched, and I'm sure I am, but I'm one of a billion. But you can find people that want to drill into certain people, and it's usually high profile people, and find out, okay, what are they doing every moment of the day? Some people will sit at their computers all day and watch celebrities and watch high influencers and, just watch people, as their entertainment, right? Facebook is one. And, I'm not knocking any of it because I use it too. But I mean, to sit there and not move and watch all of this all day long. You'll find children possibly entertaining that kind of behavior, especially adults, where they can sit there in their beds, or in a chair somewhere, and be on their cell phones all day long. So it's a wake-up call to just be prepared. What would you do if the cell phones are out for, for hours and hours, for days and days, weeks and weeks? So I don't know. What would you do? I know what I would do, and I'm prepared for it. So we all just need to be prepared for something. Just pretend something will happen again. And what will I do? And I can't be too concerned about the material things I have. I have the important documents stored in certain places, but the rest of this material stuff in here, if I can put it in my backpack, I'll take it. But I got these books that I love to read over and over, so I'm constantly taking inventory of what's going on in my space and wondering, what would I do? I can always reorder books, so that's a great thing. So it's just a lot to consider. It's a lot to be prepared for. We need, a lot of us need to be prepared, especially those of you that have children and animals. If there's an emergency coming through, what are you going to do? We've been in a state of emergency. It seems as though every day for quite some time. There's something going on, underneath. I think it's I can't remember, in one of those countries down under where there's, I think they're dealing with fires or something to that effect. I'm not sure. I just caught a glimpse of it. But I mean, is this, and then, California, or just say the West Coast in general, East Coast in general, is this the state of emergency constantly on this planet? And it will continue, in my opinion, for a while, because I'm not picking up anybody knowing what to do. And that's where we are. A lot of people won't admit that. They have no idea what to do. They're dealing with mother nature. And that's that, if you're attempting to battle mother nature, okay, that's almost delusional. Well, it is. But, let's be kind and gentle this morning on this Saturday, February 24th, 2024. So other than that, everything is fantastic. And for the most part, I got my responsibilities, and I'm sure everybody else has theirs. It's about caring for yourself, caring for others, attempt to make things right. Make things right with people. Make things right with your situation. Why carry all of that constantly, day after day, year after year after year? As a human being, we're responsible for resolving things so that we are allowed the opportunity to open our consciousness up for new, fresh ideas. If you have all this stuff buried on you, buried stuff, that you think are hidden, you are causing stagnation in your consciousness. Your consciousness needs to be open. Okay, what does that mean? Well, I mean that literally, figuratively, and metaphorically. It means to be open. Your thoughts need to be allowed to open up and allow other activities or information or impulses or electrical impulses, whatever. Let the sunshine in, so to speak. And so that you are thinking and not just ruminating and thinking about the same thing over and over, in that spin where you're not allowing allowing other things the opportunity to come through, to seep through into you, to be captured into you. So like I said, I'm going to do the best I can, but I know what my limitations are. So I'm not going to run myself into the ground, so to speak, and attempt to, to take it to reach everybody. That's what I mean by some of us just want it all. We want all of the audiences out there, which we are attempting to appeal to this person, that person. We don't understand that it's a resonation of energy. Okay, my sounds and tones are going to reach the right people, the right human beings. So in that regard, I can relax and just do what I got to do. I stay righteous. I do everything I can to be honest, but I know how to, the reason why I hesitate there, some people cannot, I don't care, under the best circumstances, handle the truth. Okay, I know that. And why do I know that? Well, the results speak for themselves. A lot of people are not allowing themselves to handle the truth. And that's a dangerous slope to be on, because you need to allow things to flow. And you don't need to be interrupting all the time and attempting to bury your head in the sand. That's what I mean. Something's going on with the climate. Something's going on here. Something's going on there. Okay, and pretending otherwise is just causing, like I said, some serious upcoming issues to you. It's important to know how to think properly and understand what that means. Okay, like I said, a lot of us are not thinking properly. And that's all you have to do is pay attention to the results. And I say a lot of us, I mean on a collective basis, most importantly. We've short circuit everything. Everybody's going, firing off everywhere. There's just, dangerous sources of energy and dangerous forces of energy that are penetrating our consciousness, penetrating our thoughts, and causing these certain behaviors and actions that a lot of people, I can imagine there are some that once the damage is done, once they've caused something devastating to themselves or someone else, and when they finally get to a point where they don't think nobody's watching them, I'm sure they're asking themselves, what the fuck was I thinking? And why did I allow that to happen? They're saying that to their innermost being, their innermost self. So, there's just a lot on our plate. Okay, there's a lot to handle. But as an individual, make sure, you are honest with yourself about your situation. Okay, you're being grounded and realistic about your situation. You're not, coming out, because a lot of people on their, it is kind of funny. A lot of people on their pictures, what do you call it? Their pictures that they put online. I can't even remember the terminology right now, but most people are smiling. You notice that? Well, imagine changing that up and being realistic about how you're feeling. Are you really happy? Are you pretending? Okay, so, and I think if people would consider all of that, you'll change your behavior. You may not take as many pictures. You may just say, let me stop. Let me just stop all of this facade and, this pretending of happiness, because especially from people who claim they're happy and claim they know what happiness is. That's the same thing with people that claim they are thinking for themselves and thinking and claiming they know what it means to think, and people who are meditating and claiming they're masters at meditation, and claiming they're masters of human beings, where they're more than they are. And sometimes enough is enough. Settle yourself down, and you know who you are. If my sounds and tones resonate with you, you know who you are. Settle down. Get a grip before you lose grip on your life. Literally, figuratively, and metaphorically. So I'm going to end it right there for this morning. I want to send peace and love to everyone all over the stars and moon and mountains. Universal love. It exists. Universal love is what I strive for. And I want all of you to determine what you want to strive for, what is important in your life to make you more original, authentic, and genuine. Evolution of the consciousness. Love is spoken here. I'm Michelle Carruthers.
Thank you so much for listening to the Evolution of the Consciousness podcast. Please make sure to leave us a review. If you wish to ask a question to Michelle, you can leave her an email at missmichellecarruthers@gmail.com.